Hi everyone, Erin here, and it is finally time to talk about this new area of the garden and getting some plants in it, some of which has already happened, but I want to talk you through this area. So this area behind me here is the extension to this garden on the other side of the circle garden, which was a really good move. Multiple people have said that this feels very natural to them, and I do feel like I fought extending this border for a long time. And I did it because I didn't feel like dealing with the hassle of ripping out grass and making a new border. And yet it really is better just in terms of shape of the bed. So I had kind of a triangle here to fill in, and it was actually like more area than I really anticipated, but I also brought the border out a little bit. So let me walk through the other part of this. We'll talk about what I've done over there, and then we're going to get into the plants that are going in this new area. So in order to create this sort of new edge that I had along here and add in that bench that we talked about in a previous video, I had to pull some of the border out because the goal was to make it match more or less with the arc of the circle garden over here. So up to about this area, everything was the same. So one of the things that I wanted to do was rescue some plants that were further inside the bed, which had been along the previous edge, and pull those out so that they wouldn't get lost in the garden. I didn't really want to have to add a whole bunch of plants, so it was also a way, this, as you can tell, this garden is heavily planted. You know, as you guys know, that's my preference to do that. I never have to weed this garden, with the exception of the areas where Lily of the Valley has kind of taken over. I never really have to go in and weed this garden, which is, it's very easy maintenance from that standpoint. So one of the things I did was sort of amend this area a little bit. This is Carex humilis hexi and blue mouse ears hosta, which I really love this combination quite a bit. I love how the blue mouse ears just kind of pops out from the hexi a little bit. And so what I did was I just kept repeating that. I added in a little bit more of that grass, and then I moved some of these blue mouse ears out farther, pulled them out this way so they wouldn't be lost in the back of the bed there. And then actually we came across, I also had some of this, I think this is regal red Japanese painted fern. I pulled some of those out because those would have also gotten lost, and just kind of beefed up this front border. So I really like this combination that's along here. Same thing here, pulled out some of the blue mouse ears hosta and another one of those regal red painted ferns. Here, I don't think I did anything to pull anything out. Oh, I did put in an astrantia right here, which matches with the astrantia that I have down on this end. I really love astrantia. I think this is Sparkling Stars Red. This might be like Sparkling Stars Pink down here. And I wanted to bring that, you know, this is all about repetition, right? I want to keep repeating the same plants. So in that vein, here is a fairly large stand of shredded umbrella plants right here. One of my very favorite plants. I mean, just a texture winner. So I got another one of those, and I put that right here at the front, right in front of Dawn's Early Light hosta. Really good texture contrast, and that will fill in that area well, and then we'll start having a little repetition along this border. Then we go along here, and we talked about the bench area before, and I did put in some hardy begonias, which are, you know, questionably hardy here, probably not hardy here, but I keep trying. One of these years it's going to work. Then we have another shredded, I added another shredded umbrella plant. Same thing, keep the repetition going. I pulled this pulmonaria forward. I couldn't tell you which one this was, but it was, you know, buried in the back there a little bit. Pulled that forward. Pulled all of these. Did I pull these forward? Did I plant? I can't remember. I think some of these I rescued. I think some of these painted ferns I rescued from in there. Maybe all of them, actually. I don't think I added any in this area. So pulled those forward again. That'll make a nice little clump. And again, you know, I'm trying to rescue plants, but also do some repetition. We've got lots of those down there. So now we get into the newly planted area here. And so that's where, that was all existing areas that just got wider. Now we're into newly planted areas. So now we're into all new planting. This whole triangle here is new planting. So let me walk you through what's in there. By the way, just a note about exposure. So I'm shooting this at a time of day when we're pretty much shade. This is one of those hard areas because we've got some trees above us. But I would say we've got full sun here until early afternoon most of the time. It's certainly on the front edge of this is full sun. When we get to the back, we're definitely getting a little shaded because this is a beech tree right here. So right underneath the beech tree, obviously, that's fairly shaded for most of the day, although dappled shade in the morning. And then as the sun gets over there, we will get another dose of sun towards the end of the day here as well. But I'm filming this at a time when we're definitely in a shadier period. So I want to start on this corner and just kind of walk you through the plants that we have here. So starting right here is one of the three Himalayan jack-in-the-pulpits that I planted in here from bulbs I bought from Etsy. Two of the three are up. The biggest bulb is not up yet, but that one seemed to be farther behind. It was not yet. The other ones were on the verge of sprouting or had sprouted. This one was not. So I still have hopes that it should be fine. So that's your kind of a feature plant. Then the next thing I have here is actually a combination between, I think it's a Mucdenia and an Ordenia, and I forget exactly what the combined name of it is, but this one's called Fusion of Fire. I think it was new out last year. I have a few of them around the garden. Really love them. They overwintered really well for me. Kind of slightly shiny leaves. They got kind of interesting flowers on them. They're supposed to get great fall color on them, which is what Mucdenia does. These were all planted in this garden, and again, I pulled these all forward so that they wouldn't be lost in the shuffle back there. Behind that, we've got three plants, three of the same plant, and it's new to me. It's Philopendula, and I've never grown this plant before, but I'm intrigued by it, and several of you actually have told me that you really like this plant. And I found this really beautiful one at Northwind Perennial Farm. That's Roy Diblic's garden center. And so I thought I would try it here because this is I think what you're going to see here is this is very textural. This is not super colorful. This is a very textural area. So contrast is good, and this has some really beautiful foliage on it. Right here is, now I used to know this as Estelboides, but apparently this is now Regerzia, reclassified or something. This is Regerzia tabularis, but you might know it as Estelboides. I certainly did. This gets huge. This gets 4 feet tall by 30 feet. No, flowering height is 4 feet. Height is 30 by 36, or 30 to 36, and spread is 24 to 30. And it gets these huge leaves. Now, it does like really moist conditions. So whether it likes, and I think my understanding from this plant is that if it likes it, and it's amazing. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It does have fuzzy leaves, so it should not be too attractive to deer. And planting it here, where we're definitely got some root situation going on with the beech tree, you know, we're going to see. It's an experiment here, but I've left a lot of room for this plant because I think it's going to take up, you know, if it's happy, it's going to be a large thing. But I really wanted some big, bold foliage there. This is a touch of gold holly. This is only hardy down to zone 7. It's probably not going to make it through the winter, but it's a beautiful little plant. And honestly, this is a fairly protected area, so it's worth giving it a shot to see what happens. I would not bet on it living, but for this year, this is going to be here. Stuck right here is Persicaria. Persicaria is an underused plant, in my opinion. It does really well in this sort of part sun to shade situation, certainly part sun situation. It seems it can handle a lot of ranges, not down to full shade, but it can handle a lot of exposure range. Should get pretty tall. This one specifically is called Amethyst Summer. Around that, we've got 3 Winter Glow Bergenias. I'm growing this, I mean, granted there are pretty flowers on this, but I am growing this specifically for the shiny, bold leaf foliage. That shiny foliage should be a really nice accent in here. Another plant that likes a lot of water. I'm kind of hoping that since this is on the downhill side of this, that the water will drain down and kind of will get a fair amount of water in this area. Crossing my fingers that that will happen. Right here is where another one of the Himalayan Jack in the Pulpits should be. No sign of it yet, but we are crossing our fingers on that. Then I've got two tiny monster geraniums. This is a perennial geranium, and tiny monster gets only 12 to 14 inches tall, but 24 to 36 inches high. It's got a really pretty, I don't know what we'd call that, kind of a light purple flower on it. I love the hardy geraniums. I think there's so many cool ones out there. Just fun to play around with those. I have put in front of that a bit of a filler thing, and this is Carex plantaginia, which is this wide, broad, I think it's sometimes called seersucker sedge, because we needed a little something in here. This can do really well in sort of this semi-shade situation. Of course, here is this beautiful moonstone blue globe spruce. You guys saw me plant this in the Isley video. This thing is enormous and beautiful, and frankly the focal point of this garden bed. Around that, we're going with lady's mantle. In my opinion, lady's mantle is just a workhorse plant that that just does all the right things, can manage so many different exposures. It does very well in my yard. The chartreuse flowers on that are going to look amazing with the blue color on this Picea pungens. That will be a winner. Moving around to this side, I've got another right here below me. I've got three of a new hardy geranium called White Ness. I saw them at a plant sale and I wanted to try them. I don't know much about it actually. These have quite pretty foliage on them, but I thought those three would go there. One of the things I'm looking for along this front edge is super tough plants, because these plants are going to have, you know, snow that goes on top of them. We don't plow our driveway, but we do snow blow it. So snow is going to blow on top of them. A lot of water. If we get a big rain, water can kind of come in here. So these plants need to be tough. There's probably a lot of residual heat off the driveway. So particularly on the edge, I'm looking for tough plants. One little special touch in the middle is that I've planted a clematis in the middle here. And this is Arabella, which Arabella's a great one for just letting ramble through a bed. I have another one already. And between this it's got these pretty blue flowers on it. Between the chartreuse flowers of the lady's mantle and this, right now I've got it, probably will scramble up through here, but I'm going to let this scramble around the bed. It's going to look really good with everything. And a bit of an unexpected touch in here. Now I might be pushing it a little bit with Hackala all gold here, but I do find that I can push this into a fair bit of sun, provided it has enough water. The main reason I did this right here is, well, not only did I want that chartreuse with the blue again, but what I've noticed with our new driveway lights is that the lights that have Hackala growing under them actually kind of glow when the lights are on. It really accentuates the lights, and I wanted something low because these are not particularly tall lights, so I didn't want anything that was going to grow up and block the light of these. Coming down this way, we've got Boom Chocolata. This is a combination I actually have in another part of the garden. Boom Chocolata and Hackala all gold is a premium combination. Boom Chocolata for me is just tough as nails. It can handle just about anything. Love the dark foliage, love the blue flowers on it. A little bit more Hackala here to sort of tie these areas in. And then we come into a sort of river of Liatris here. This is Liatris I think it's spicata, but I'm not sure, alba. So this is the white flowering one. So we're going to get some nice tall spikes through here. Also kind of worked through this area are some Nicotiana mojito. I wanted to bring in, I've got Nicotia planted around the garden, and in order to make the garden more cohesive, I like to bring some of those same plants into other gardens. And so I've done that here with the Nicotiana mojito, which is a chartreuse one. Now right here are a trio of one of my very favorite hydrangea arborescens, Haas Halo. Not only do I love this plant very, very much, we know it's an arborescens, so we don't have to worry about any kind of hardiness issues, they're going to be tough as nails, no problem. They bloom on new wood, no problem. But the main reason I brought these over here is because I have those planted right on the other side of the driveway. So I wanted to bring those plants that are on the other side of the driveway over here because I would like these two areas to at least casually reference one another. If not, they won't be matching, but I would like them to reference one another. So we've got Haas halos there, Haas halos here, ties everything in with this garden. So that's part of the reason why I've got that Nicotiana planted here. These obviously aren't their full size, so that Nicotiana sort of temporarily fills things in while these shrubs are allowed to grow. I've got 3 geums here. This is Top Shelf Margarita Garden. It's a yellow flowering one. I don't know. I'm just kind of getting my feet under me with geums. I don't know if I like them or not. I'm trying it out. I've got 3. We're going to add them in here. We're going to see if we like them or not. Then this is the 3rd of the Silver Center Himalayan Jack in the Pulpits, which this was the first one to come up, and this was actually looking, this is the biggest so far, obviously, and it's going to be really cool in this spot. I've brought in 3 epimediums here because I have a lot of epimediums growing back here. So again, I want to tie that part of the garden in with this. I don't want this to look like this was added on. I want it to look like it's been here the whole time. And I'm bridging the gap here with just 3 Carex montanas. That will again reference the other side of the driveway. Then we get into some northern maidenhair fern, one of my favorite ferns. I love this fern so much, and we may add more to this garden. I want to make sure this exposure level is right for it, though, before I really put a lot of them in here. But this is such a beautiful, light and airy fern. As I get down to this corner, I pulled forward some of the heucheras that were in here. So this is Autumn Bride heuchera. It's really the only heuchera I pretty much grow anymore. I have a few others that still exist, but I don't really plant anything but this one anymore. It's the only one that does anything decent for me, to be honest. And really it's about foliage with this one. This is not a fancy color. It's all about foliage, and then it does get these beautiful flowers in autumn versus spring like many other heucheras. So it's interesting for that reason. Then I have put in 2 boxwoods, one here, one here. These are both better boxwoods. Which one is this? I'm going to have to put the name on the screen because I can't think of it off the top of my head. 2 boxwoods. These will be meatballed in some fashion. So I will prune these. Again, I have boxwoods on the other side. I've got a different boxwood over there, which is Skylight, that I'm probably going to leave Skylight natural. It's natural right now, meaning unpruned. So I will probably do that with those. But again, we're referencing same plants on that side. This one I am probably going to make into some sort of rounded form of some kind. I think to kind of play off the rounded form of the moonstone. Behind here, I had a whole bunch of Hacklencloa growing through here, so I've added in a little bit more Hacklencloa underneath this light right here. We actually have Areola and two of the all golds here. But again, we're tying things in here. And again, I've got a few of these Autumn Brides to fill in, but most of them I rescued from back here and pulled up to the front. That can do well in a good amount of sun too. I do not know what beautiful Solomon seal this is, but this is a gorgeous Solomon seal. It's been here for a little bit. It's got beautiful red stems. It's taller than other ones, and I'm totally into it. From then on, everything else behind here was already here, and I hope you can't tell the difference between what was here and what wasn't. I've also stuck in just a little bit more of that Carex plantaginia, kind of as a bit of a filler because I didn't want to add in any more color on that. So about half of this garden is already planted. I left right before that heat wave. So I had a bunch of plants staged here, and I realized that it would be much easier for those plants to make it through that heat wave with me being gone if they were in the ground. So I stuck in the stuff that I knew where it was going to go first, and now I'm going to finish up planting all of the rest of this, and then we'll walk through and I'll just show you how everything looks when we're finished with that planting part. Okay, so here's the overview of everything. One plant I didn't mention when I was showing you everything was this one. This is a Dicentra White Diamonds, which was a sample plant from Proven Winners that apparently likes a little bit more sun and actually flowers most of the year. We're going to see how that goes. I stuck that between the two tiny monsters. I do need to come in and like, I didn't have my pruners on me, so I do need to like cut the flower stem off of the Virginia. But I think you get a feel for this. Now, if we look this way, you know, really the only thing to me that separates the new from old is that the old is a little bit denser planting. So give this a little time to grow in, and I feel like this is going to feel very cohesive with what's happening behind it, which of course is what was there already. One thing I did change out was I swapped out some of the Carex plantaginia that was here because there was another plant I wanted to put in, and it's just a tiny little guy right now, but it is another perennial geranium. This one's called Laura Skeleton, and I got that from Digging Dog, and it's supposed to be really pretty, and so I wanted to put it towards the front so I can see it, and actually it works well because we've got now a triangle of geraniums between this and the Boom Chocolata and then the Tiny Monster on the other side. As we look at this from this side, other than the bit of mess that's on the driveway that I need to clean up, again, I hope you can see how I think this is going to fill in nicely and look very cohesive with what's here. We're also doing things like, for instance, picking up over here, I've got quite a bit of dotted throughout this part of the garden. We've got Simicifuga or Actea here, and that's all, you know, throughout this part of the garden. And so that is sort of referencing the Boom Chocolata that's over there. I feel like all these things, once this has some time to grow in, should adapt to look pretty cohesive, and that's my hope with this. So I still have some plants to pick up on the lawn, but hopefully you can see this shape of the new bed, and you can see really that, you know, this was all a good call. And by the way, I did make, at least I mentioned this, and I think I made this comment in a video. This was all done so that I could get the new lighting in. Because I really wanted all the lighting to be within a garden bed rather than any of it just standing out in the middle of the lawn. And so that's something that clearly I think should have happened anyway, but the lighting worked out great, and that's what pushed me over the edge to actually get it done. So usually I like to design a space on paper ahead of time and know exactly what's going to go in, and I sort of pour over it and then adjust. And that is not what happened with this. This kind of, I had some ideas about some plants that went in there, but I never really had a plan until I started laying them out. I'm actually surprised how much I like what's here. A lot of times when I do that, I end up not being happy with the results. But I think because I let plants sit around for quite some time before I stuck anything in the ground, I think that really made the difference, and I do think I'm really going to love this planting. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for doing just that. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day in your garden. Bye-bye.